This is a pretty unremarkable Triumph Tiger 800XC that is currently for sale. What's interesting though is that it has an impressive 115,000 kilometers or 70,000 miles on the clock. What's even more interesting is that it rides very well. Admittedly, the gearbox feels a little worn and neutral can be a little hard to find. And yes, aesthetically speaking, it looks a little rough, with surface rust almost everywhere you look. But riding this high-mileage bike is still a very pleasant experience. The triple-cylinder engine hasn't lost its pep, and everything feels tight and solid. Now on the second-hand market, a bike like this, with this kind of mileage, will sell for next to nothing. And this got me thinking about the value, or rather the lack of value we attribute to high-mileage motorcycles. Why do we consider a bike with more than 100,000 kilometers to be worthless? Well, one reason that gets mentioned a lot is that motorcycles, and especially their engines, have a shorter lifespan than, say, car engines. People will often say something like, a motorcycle mile is worth 5 car miles, as if they were talking about dog years versus human years. The implication being, of course, that high-mileage motorcycles won't have much life left in them. But why would this be the case? Well, the reasoning behind this idea seems to be that motorcycle engines are built for more performance, and therefore they must be subject to more wear and tear. Put simply, a 1000cc engine in a sport bike will produce 200 horsepower, whereas an engine with the same displacement in a small hatchback will produce only half of that. And therefore, we can't expect the sport bike engine to last as long as the car engine. In my opinion, however, comparing motorcycle engines to car engines comes down to comparing apples to oranges. It doesn't make any sense to compare engines just by looking at two random variables such as displacement and power output. We should take into account that engines are designed to make sense as a whole, and that they are designed with a certain purpose in mind. So if it's true that motorcycle engines are designed more powerful, then that also means that they have been designed, engineered, and built to be more powerful. And better performance doesn't necessarily imply that other considerations, such as durability or reliability, have been compromised. So in my opinion, there is no intrinsic reason why we should value high-mileage motorcycles so low. People need to stop worrying that their Fireblades are going to endure catastrophic engine failure after 10,000 miles. Just like every other motorcycle manufacturer, it is safe to assume that Honda designs all of their bikes with durability in mind. Then why do we put such low value on high-mileage bikes? I think that mainly has to do with the peculiar makeup of the market for second-hand motorcycles. Unlike with cars, that market is dominated by low-mileage examples. It depends on the model, but often the majority of bikes on offer will have less than 10,000 miles on the clock. And why is there such a great supply of low-mileage motorcycles? Not because all of the high-mileage ones have exploded, but because the majority of bikers don't ride that much. The statistics vary, but average annual mileage for motorcycles is shockingly low. In Europe, it's about 3,000 kilometers per year. In the US, it's slightly more, with about 3,000 miles per year. This means that for any given model, the supply of low-mileage garage queens will be so great as to completely obliterate the demand for high-mileage examples, such as this perfectly fine Triumph Tiger. And that's a shame, because this kitten deserves the loving care of a new owner. Just hear her purr.